Welcome to Familiar Territory, an anime podcast hosted by two white dudes who've been friends for over 15 years. Here we talk about the history and influence of anime, as well as review anime new and old. So grab your talking cap and transform into some comfy clothes as we step into a familiar territory. My name is Grant.
And I'm Brantley. Heads up, spoilers on the way. Check the description, see if you're safe to listen.
So this quite possibly might be the last episode of Familiar Territory. Because Brantley has absolutely disrespected me in every way, shape, and form.
Excuse me? Hello?
You watched 3 episodes of Tropical-Rouge Pretty Cure without me, and that wasn't very Tropica Shining of you.
I mean, first it was 4, but I mean, also in my defense, it was for the good of the podcast.
If we were caring about the good of the podcast, I don't think we'd be doing an entire episode on Tropical-Rouge Pretty Cure.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We watched a whole bunch of Tropical-Rouge Pretty Cure. You also see it called Tropical-Rouge Pretty Cure as part of the broader Precure series. Not Tropical-Rogue Pretty Cure, like I've mistyped very often. That would be something entirely different. So this is a long-running show. It's going to go far longer than, what we might end up covering on this podcast. But we hit the first 13 episodes. And then I also watched a few more because I wanted to know what it was going to be like. But in any case, we watched basically a season's worth of the show to go ahead and cover that much. I'm going to give you the lowdown on what Precure is. So, for those who don't know, at its most basic, Precure is an annual power fantasy Super Sentai team of secondary schoolers with candy-colored hair, and they're solving problems in their community together. That's the basic premise. It's magical girl team fighting whatever for the good of happiness and justice and love.
And capitalism.
And yes, and capitalism. It's a long-running series as of, 2004. Despite being long-running, they change up the cast and the setting almost every year. So, essentially, they'll do, 1 year, which is about 45 to 49 episodes of one theme. And then they'll come up with a new one for the next year, and the next year, and the next year. So if you ever where do I start with Precure? Just pick any year. They're very, very similar to each other, and they're meant to be sort of interchangeable as far as I can tell. If we were to look at Precure in the more abstract sense, though, Precure is a ritual. It's very repetitive. It's really in the same vein as a lot of early Sailor Moon and the Pokemon anime being very episodic and here's the little lesson we learned for the day, and here's a lot of cute and cool things to look at and maybe want to buy. That's kind of the gist, right?
It's not super unknown to American audience what it's trying to do. I mean, America's been doing that since the 80s with Transformers or G.I. Joe or Captain Planet, right? It's very 80s in terms of what it's trying to do. You have a problem, you see the monster of the day, you solve the A plot, which is something completely irrelevant to the destruction of the city, and then you solve the B plot, which is the destruction of the city.
Yeah.
And then in the end, everyone dances.
Yeah, exactly. This is a very, very consistent experience. Symphogear, this is not, right? So, if you're looking for drama and high stakes, you're not going to really get it here. Instead, you're going to get a very lighthearted, consumable experience. Though I'd say it's difficult to binge because it's so repetitive. But I still like coming around to it. And also, I'll personally weigh in that I think the production values are pretty all right. it's certainly not bad. There are some lower points where you get stiffer animations and a lot of just like standing mouth flaps, but you also get high points in the show where you can tell someone really put a lot of love into what's going on screen. Like in the first episode of Tropical-Rouge Precure, they have some pretty, I wouldn't say impressive, but like there was work put into some of the rotations they do on characters jumping around and running around and stuff like that.
There is enough animation that you forget that this show is cared for.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first animation we saw, like the first fight scene where what's her name? I have it. Manatsu.
Yeah.
Manatsu. She starts kicking rocks, and it's like very well animated. And I know Healin' Good Pretty Cure had a couple of posts I've seen that it's like, hey, look at this fight scene from this shoujo magical girl show, and it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, this even goes back to when we first reviewed Futari wa Pretty Cure, where the first in this what is now a long running syndicated series. That had some pretty sick martial arts animation going on too. Characters are doing like flips and kicks and all sorts of fancy combat. So it's always kind of been like a staple of these series that they have better animation than you would expect, even if it's not like blow your mind levels. Which is good, because outside of that, you're going to get a lot of very efficient, very recycled content.
It's fine. Recently, near the end, Brantley and I were kind of, I wouldn't say over it, because this show's still ongoing, and it's one of those shows that we talked about continuing to watch as it comes out, as long as it doesn't take up too much of our time, and maybe coming back at the end of the series in 7 to 8 months. But we were trying to predict specific things that happened in it, and then they would throw like a really small like curveball, and we would freak out by like the tiniest thing.
Yeah. Oh man, it really is sometimes that simple, But make no mistake, all of this is for selling merch in Japan. That is the underlining reason that this ritual exists. I do want to talk specifically about Tropical-Rouge Precure and sort of what sets it apart from all the rest of Precure. But this is actually a password lock conversation, Grant.
Oh, fuck.
What's the password?
Is it Tropica Shining?
It is not.
Fuck.
Would you like a hint?
Yes. Because if I don't, I'm not going to get it, and it's going to be a miserable experience for everybody.
It's 5 words.
There's a lot of things in this world that are 5 words.
Okay, here's another hint. Precure Tropical Change.
Oh, fuck. Okay, so it is, it's cheeks? Yeah? Eyes, hair, lips, dress?
Bam! You got it.
Hell yeah.
we were competing against each other to try to memorize the order for like the last 6 episodes we were watching of this show. One of us would get it wrong, and by one of us I'd mean me. I'd be off by 1, and Grant would just dunk on me ferociously.
I didn't even get it. Like I would just make sure that Brantley had it. I was being very gatekeepy about this show. When I did, I didn't know it at all until he got me. He's like, "What is it?" I'm like, "Oh fuck!"
But see,
I wasn't paying attention.
That's the whole the coach and boxer mentality, right? You were training me.
Oh yeah,
you're being hard on me because you knew it would make me stronger.
That's what I wanted to do. Okay, so what is if you were trying to start a Precure show, what sets Tropical-Rouge Precure apart from literally all the 18 other Precures. There's 17 other Precures. Sorry, there's 18 Precures total.
Wow. I would say, because I've touched into, at least I've watched the first episode of Hokuto Precure, and I've seen like a couple other like very toy based magical girl shows. The one coming to mind is Ojamajo Doremi, and I think it's that in this show, to a significant increase compared to others in its like genre zone, they're just having an absolute blast. Like, this show is so happy. It's so like energetic and just off the rails. It kind of reminds me of the difference between like Pokemon Indigo League and Pokemon Sun and Moon in the anime. Like, you know, whereas like, you know, there's usually a semblance of like, you know, plot continuity and growth regarding like say Ash and his you know relationship to Pokemon in like the original series, and you're getting these like little lessons learned about like how to be a better trainer, and Ash has like these struggles and these victories. This is mostly victories. This is mostly just girls being girls and having an absolute, you know, wild time as they go. It's a vacation from, you know, drama. It's very happy, very sunny. It's very silly too. Like it's kind of goofy in a way that I think we have a hard time distinguishing if it is intentional or not. But we find ourselves laughing a lot when we watch this show. It really is, yeah.
This is also one of those shows when people pop into the Discord and we're just chilling. A couple people will watch it with us, and it doesn't matter what episode we're on or whatever. They always just kind of ride the wave, as it would be with the show, and it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable.
Yeah. This show, even though it might not be for everyone in terms of its like content and tone, you know, what it will bring you is a very like sterile, G-rated, family-friendly kind of, you know, environment to just immerse yourself in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just something nice about not stressing over the media you're watching, just knowing everything is going to turn out all right, and so you're just waiting for it to surprise you every now and then. You're just sitting there waiting for the next new, like, really crappy MIDI jingle that they put at the end of the episode. You're like, which one's it gonna be? And we're placing our bets. We're like, all right, this was a choral episode. You're definitely gonna get choral here at the end. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's papaya, and then it's like, no, it's choral. Okay, and you know, it's like, there's just something amusing about it. It almost feels like it definitely feels like it's properly marketed to kids, because it has that level of like tackiness and goofiness to it.
It's very tacky. That is an incredible way to describe Precure. Not all the Precures, because I haven't seen all of them, but this one's tacky. But it kind of, I don't know if it's supposed to be. We talked about how we don't know how self-aware the creators are with it, but like the main character is very touristy, and she loves all the tacky shit that is at this tourist destination that she now lives at. And it's kind of your experience.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that as adults we might kind of step back and think like, is this a really good, you know, is this good to be in this like touristy, like outsider breaching inside mindset? But, you know, thankfully it's not in any kind of serious context. It's someone coming from more like secluded island life into a city environment and making new friends and trying all the things that they never got to try before. And in that sense, you know, again, it's very clean. It's very, you know, inoffensive.
Yes.
And it is, you know, it's a fun set of shoes to put yourself in, I guess.
Yeah. The energy that the show brings is a vibe. The opening I hated for like 2 episodes. It's very annoying. But as I continuously kept going, I would not skip the opening because I was like, it's fun. I want to watch their stupid dance.
Yeah. This show is so loud. Like from an audio perspective, but also just visually, it's just so in your face. So yeah.
Yep,
it's so much. It's just so much everything.
It's Tropica shining constantly.
Yeah. They stuck the landing on that. So then that raises the question: how does Tropical-Rouge Pretty Cure actually handle, the hustle? What's the tropical hustle all about? And it's still there. As much as I want to say, like, yeah, it's an inoffensive show, they have not forgotten their Precure roots. Practically every episode is about something material. Like, it almost always centers on something like that, or there's a very strong element of it. Obviously, like, the Precure gear, the equipment that they have to transform and what they use with their superpowers and stuff, all of that is meant to be sold to you. To name off the Precure gear stuff, Lightning Round, there's the Compacts, which are, what contract them into being Precure magical girls. There's the Heart Rings, which you have to use to unlock the Compact because the Compact alone was not good enough. There's the Lipstick, which then turns into the Heart Rouge Rod. Laura has, like, a mirror, which she uses sometimes. She also has the Aqua Pot, which I'm sure guarantees is, like, or doubles as, like, it's also, like, sort of a cell phone or a smartphone in their universe, but I don't know if they have, like, that as a toy, where like, it actually takes pictures, or, like, a camera version of it, or whatever. Pot? But yeah.
Not that I know of. They do have the Aquapot. It's expensive as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's also like Kururun's, like, snacks. They have, like, these, like, special shaped cookies or whatever. I'm sure they sell those. Like, they just deck this stuff out.
Yeah, Kururun herself or
himself. Yeah. Their little mascot character
is adorable. I love Kururun.
Kururun is so cute, and so goddamn funny.
It's just absolute. It's like Kirby, right? Where no matter what situation this seal is in, you're just happy to see him.
The epitome of no thoughts, head empty.
100%.
It's a beautiful thing. But even then, in each episode, it's usually about, like, something that's more material. Not all the episodes. Sometimes it's about interpersonal stuff, but it's rare. So, like, episode 1, there's a big fixture on the main character, Manatsu, having her mom's lipstick as, like, a sign of coming home to her, and, like, she's fixated on it as, like, a part of her she's, like, internalizing. There's the Pretty Holic, I don't know how you pronounce it, actually, Pretty Holic store that Sango's mom runs, and she's there a lot. There's, like, the strip mall that they're visiting in one episode, and they're doing, like, a lot of stuff there with their group of side character friends. Episodes 4 and 5 kind of get off the hook because it's about books and recycling, so that's fine. But then right after that, we have a bunch of graduated classmates coming back to school to look for this penguin statue, Penchan, that they had kept and wanted to, like, see again together. As I mentioned, they've got, like, this special collection of Grand Ocean sweets, which I guarantee they sell in real life. Episode 8 is all about, making bento boxes and, custom making that, home making it. Episode 9, they help an actress sort of break herself into a new role that she's normally not typecasted for by helping her get into costume, and then that helps her separate herself from who she usually acts as. Episode 11, to skip 10 because 10 doesn't really have one. I guess there's the bad guy like wants to perfect his stew, which that's another like material thing. But I'm gonna let him. Yeah, I'm gonna let him stew. That was a good one. In episode 11, they're doing a sand art contest, and there's a prize for a year's supply of tropical melon bread. Episode 12 is all about fun stuff getting confiscated by the school, like disciplinary committee, whatever you call it. Episode 13 checks out. That's the radio episode, and that's what we ended up seeing together. A few episodes after that kind of break away from this, but like just to say that it's usually focused on things more than people. There aren't that many times where the characters have to like really kind of sit down with another person and work through their emotions or try to understand someone else's point of view. Usually the problem is a thing, or a thing is having a problem, and then they need to solve that somehow. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to swing this, that this is a show that is very materialistic down to its A-plots.
Yeah. And not to say that, because some of the things that they do talk about, the materialistic stuff, is character-driven. Like the Bento Box episode isn't necessarily about Bento Boxes themselves, but the care that goes into making food and like...
Yes.
And it's still whack sometimes, but it's a kid's show. And that's not normally an excuse, but I don't think that this show has a ton of ulterior motives. They definitely want to sell toys, but I don't think it's
in a kind of hands-off way. Yeah. And like it's like, well, we're going to try to sell toys, but it's not like we want that to be the only thing you care about or something like that. And like I also can appreciate that this show is about enjoying material things, because you should be able to like things.
Yes.
It's about sure, to make someone a special lunch, you're going to have to go and buy them things. And that comes with a certain amount of privilege that you can have. But also, if you've got it, you should enjoy it, I've personally, the show talks about makeup a lot in this aspect, obviously. And that's something I can appreciate now. Like when I am working on, my like feminine presentation, there's only so much I can do to get rid of my facial shadow. And so the first time I actually got, I got the makeup to like work and I felt like I had a smooth face. Like that's a really good feeling. I know it's a very personal example, but reflect this on any other thing. It's just like, man, I've got this water bottle that I just really like. When I've had like a bad day, I come home and it's already cold. I just chug and I feel good. Awesome. You should be able to like the little material things in your life. I don't want to give the impression that there's like a shame factor here.
Nah, everyone should hate everything. I think that's the way to go.
Except big hats.
Big hats are good. No, I actually agree. I think the show it rides a fine line of making things about materialism, but it doesn't. And I think it's good. It's not going to change your opinions on anything. It's not going to challenge anything, but not everything needs to do that. And I think that if this show doesn't change, I'll be okay with it.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, though, a lot of times Precure kind of gets hard near the end of the series. So I'm kind of excited to see if it does that.
What do you mean by hard?
Like world-ending events hard.
Yeah. Okay.
So like right now, it's the big not kill people element that this show has is there is a underwater monarchy, and the sea witch, I think they call her the Witch of Delays.
Yeah.
Is an unmotivated antagonist. So she's stealing people's motivation power. So it's like the monster comes in and nobody wants to do anything. Same. But that's kind of the thing. It's very low stakes now. But I'm wondering if this show's ever gonna go off the rails, and in not dark, but you know what I mean. Like in Sailor Moon, when a character can cause a supernova, it's like, okay, well that's a big jump from the first season.
Yeah,
and I've heard a lot of Precure stuff does that, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I believe. Well, that's a spoiler. Never mind. I'll hold that one to myself. Okay. So do you have any other thoughts on why this show doesn't feel uber commercial, even though that's where it sort of thrives?
The characters are fun, and I like who they are. As they're fun to watch. So I feel like I'm watching characters do character things, and not try and have things sold to me as if I was a child.
Okay, yeah. I have a theory. I feel like one of the reasons why it doesn't feel like the show is overly commercial, even if it is a lot about, things and items and whatnot, is that money basically doesn't exist in this show. It doesn't feel like Manatsu and Co. are champions of free market capitalism, because you never see them, like, buy things or, like, earn money. I don't even remember there being, like, a fundraiser episode, or anything like that. Even, like, say, for, like, the sand art contest. Well, we're giving away a year's supply of, melon bread. Where's that coming from? Who knows? They didn't mention a sponsor or anything, as far as I remember. So they kind of, like, totally slink by the entire transactional part of this. The characters don't go and buy things regularly in this show. They're shared, they're borrowed, they're inherited. They straight up come out of nowhere,
Right.
Like, occasionally the characters will go, like, shopping. But even then, it's not like you see them at the register buying something and walking away from it. Usually they're window shopping, and then maybe something appears later. Like, it's out of nowhere. And that's interesting to me. Like, that it's a show about city life and all the things that are in it, but they totally skirt by without the actual, monetary exchange involved there. I wonder... And I can't actually ever figure out, but I wonder how much influence that manages to have on that feeling, that it's not, just a cynical cash grab.
Yeah, it wants to sell you toys, but it's not gonna make it. It's good at pretending it doesn't.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I actually looked into some of the producers, and I know that Bandai Namco makes the toys, I believe. And they're not a producer of the show.
Interesting. Yeah.
The show only has two producers, ABC Animation and ADK Emotions. So it seems kind of the people who are making the merchandise are hands off on the production, and I think that's a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do we want to talk about the characters now?
Yeah, let's do it.
So like most magical girl shows, you have your group of monocolored friends that do goofy shit. So your main character is Natsumi Manatsu, who is Cure Summer. What do you think of Cure Summer?
She's just a bottle of sunshine, and that carries most of the episodes.
Yeah.
She's just blindingly excited about literally everything that's happening in life, except studying.
Yeah, she is a dog.
yeah. Not in, like, the derogatory sense, but just park, ball, squirrel, ball, stick.
Everything is the best. Everything is the best, and it's contagious. It's not annoying. It's not like this character is coming out and being this I mean, she is in your face and happy all the time, but the show kind of puts you in that mood when you start it, so it's not it's not annoying.
Yeah.
It's
she is just an Energizer bunny of like good feelings.
Yeah. I think that her transformation scene, the transformation scenes in this show are pretty fun.
I like them a lot.
They're pretty dang simple, but you get a lot of personality between all of them. She doesn't really her little super attack that she has is she blows a bubble that is the sun and then spikes it into the enemy and they explode. It's fucking good.
Yeah.
And when we can talk
Why don't we just take a sidebar here for a moment? All the super moves are pretty entertaining. I
think. The show is when they do the little victory, the villains have these the monsters just have the stupidest face. And
they're non-emotive. They just stand there and take it.
And seeing them in the background just explode gets me every time. And I think that's where a lot of the animators that's where you kind of think that the animators knew what they were doing, where you put a little less detail in the background characters and it becomes a little bit more enjoyable. I kind of hope that we see a little bit more emotion from Manatsu going on forth. As much as I do enjoy her overly charming, energetic self, I think that there's room for depth. There might be, but I'm not the Precure guy.
I was very excited about episode 10, I think, where she's trying to study and it's just kind of going nowhere. Her trying to work out with her own motivational stuff, I think, was very it was good. It felt a little more serious without breaking the tone of the show. In that moment, Manatsu felt like a very accurate representation at least from what Grant attested to ADHD.
Hell yeah.
And I really I almost kind of wish they would have leaned into stuff like that more often, but they already crammed these episodes full of goofy nonsense anyways. They probably don't have the time or care to do more of those heavy hitting topics, even if I would really like them.
Right. It's kind of the give and take of having a show like this where you want to explore the themes of a little bit deeper, but you can't. It's kind of it's that balancing act that you rarely see in any media. Like in America, you have things like The Owl House or Gravity Falls, which might cover some pretty deep topics, but it's hard to do that without upsetting the tone. And I don't think Precure's ever going to try and do that, which is a little disappointing, but it's what it is.
Yeah, it is. There's a time and place, and Precure is neither of those.
Yes. So let's talk about Sango.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything to say about Manatsu.
No, I think we've said pretty much, what needs to be said on her. I feel like Sango is the most underused in like the daily life segments of the show.
Yeah.
She has an interesting character conceit that she wants to stand out more, that she feels like oftentimes her anxiety socially drives her to, just kind of fit in, but she wants to be more than that. And eventually she finds her way into that with the whole like makeup metaphor and whatnot. And then she kind of gets relegated to the background just because she's not that like explosive kind of character. But at the very least, she probably gets the most use out of her superpower in the fight scenes. Because they use that in every single fight.
Yeah, she has a defensive little X thing that she does that does what it needs to do, whatever the fuck that is. Is it going to block the attack? Is it going to break? Who knows? I think part of her problem is that she's Manatsu's best friend, and that's almost her entire personality. We haven't had, as far as I remember, we haven't had a Cure Coral episode for quite some time. So it's
I can attest. Episode 14, right where we left off. That's a very choral episode. It's about them going to help at a preschool, and so cute. Yeah, they're basically being stand-in preschool teachers, and it's very good. I really like that episode a lot, and Sango really kind of does well there.
I work with teenagers. I would not trust them to do anything with children because they're just gonna cause more chaos. No, I see. This is why you don't watch it without me, because now I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can tell you this. Manatsu fits the story, the personal experience you just mentioned, because there's a part where she's racing with the kids and she doesn't hold back. Of course. And she just outruns all of them, and she just does like a victory dance. She's like, haha, I was fastest. It's just like...
Kids gotta learn to lose, though. That's for sure.
That's what Sango says. She's like, some of the kids like to compete, and the other ones, like to get the chance to be the best at something. And so she like kind of purposefully walks slower than everybody else. It's very cute.
Damn, sounds like I missed out, and now I'm jealous.
It's okay. We'll get you there.
I do think Sango has the best character design in terms of her transformation. Has a hat, has a big hat.
Yeah.
And that's really all I really care about. But I like purple. Purple's a damn good color. Mm-hmm. So it's fun to the costume designs in this show are really good. But yeah. We'll finish talking about the characters, then move on to that. So let's talk about Cure Papaya, Minori.
Yeah. I think that... No, sorry, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say she's a fucking clown when she's a pre-cure.
She's an odd one, because, like, herself as a pre-cure and herself as a daily life person are very different.
So
there's
different.
Absolutely whiplash involved there. But I'm okay with that. I feel like that's her inner geek coming out. And that if you suspend your disbelief a little bit, it's, she's not becoming a totally different person. It's just that she's actually, like, expressing it more outwardly and whatnot. In any sense, she's a good foil. A bit predictable, sure, but at the very least, her, like, nonchalance or otherwise just like low emotional tone is usually pretty good for like a little 1-2 punch kind of scenario. She's not really nagging or negative so much as just like she's pretty calm. She's pretty down to earth. I like her.
Yeah, I really like one of the things that you sold me on this show is one of her attacks is she has these little laser goggles.
Yeah.
And she like does a little twirly with her fingers and then shoots a laser. And the first time you see it, it's so funny because
it's so goofy and over the top. It's so weird. Because normally she's a character with glasses and she doesn't have them as a precure, but instead she can summon these little like
papaya
citrus
slices.
Wedges. Yeah, to put like in front of her eyes, and then she just does like a straight up. What would that be? I feel like there's a Sentai hero that does that. Where it's kind of like they put their fingers up to their eyes and just like eye laser it.
It's just like Superman, right?
Yeah,
like
it's that or like Kamen Rider or Ultraman or something. But it's just so great. It comes so fast. She just go and summons it, and then just it shoots her eye lasers directly into the eyes of the monster to blind them.
Yeah, and they cry.
So funny.
And then
yeah.
And then her super move, she turns into a giant papaya with eyes and then explodes into a bunch of seeds. It's I really wish we got to see some Cure Papaya in her character, where I wish we could see her geek out as herself. I wish we got to see her have this little goofy moments. We never do.
It's pretty rare, yeah.
There was during the end, we were trying to guess which whatever the hell they call it, when they're like, today's motivational color is purple.
Today's motivation color,
and we were like, it's gonna be papaya, it's gonna be yellow, and it was fucking Laura for the first time, and we were like, God damn it.
By the way, Pretty Cure Surprise Papaya Shot absolutely beats the hell out of Mercury's Bubble Blast.
Yeah,
so,
Mercury Bubble
put
Blast.
that on the record.
Yeah, Mercury Bubble Blast is the absolute worst magical girl attack in the history of ever.
So for once, we have like the smarter glasses character, who doesn't have the absolute worst superpowers in the world. She's not on the absolute bottom tier of the magical girl team.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Let's talk about Asuka.
Asuka,
the red one. Cure Flamingo. She's probably the character with the most depth and the most character drama out of everyone, because she's the oldest, and so she has a not like a rivalry, but like an friendship with the person that runs the clubs. So anytime that there's drama with the clubs, it's going to be a Cure Flamingo episode. And so we see a lot of her. I think she has the most episodes. I say putting that in quotes.
Maybe, or at least she definitely has a streak going, because there is some continuity to this show. Like, it is not strictly episodic.
Right.
Yeah.
She's the red one. You've seen Red Magical Girls before. She's that one. She's hot-headed and angry, but cares. She's the one that deviates the least from the norm.
Yeah, she's very close to just being Sailor Jupiter.
Yeah, who is the green one, but she's like, but yes, she
does have a very important quality, which is loving cute things,
and that's all you need.
I actually really enjoy that. She has, like, out of everyone, probably the most like nerdy interests in the fact that she plays video games. We know that much. Because they have her playing like an Animal Crossing adjacent style like game in one of the episodes, and she's very into it because she loves all the cute villagers. And then also, she's like an artist too, which is nice. It's like she's like the tough one out of everybody, but she's also pretty darn good at drawing, which they have in the sand art episode, and I just really like that. It's the depth that Grant mentioned, in the sense that, like, she's more than just one thing, you know. Manatsu is energy and just energy, but instead of being just one thing, Asuka is two. So arithmetically comes out on top of that sense.
She has good poses. When she does her transformation, she does a completely ridiculous and uncomfortable bird pose, but it looks good. Her attack is she kicks things. She doesn't get like lasers or a shield. Her and Manatsu just kick and punch things, and I think that's good.
Yeah, one more thing. We found it very fun that Asuka's introduction was basically everyone fawning over her the entire episode. There's like, whoa, she's so cool, she's so cute. And Laura was just like, oh my god, we need to make her a Precure. And that was very fun. I kind of wish they did more between the two of them.
Yeah.
But you know, they wouldn't. It's fine. Yeah. The way it is, it's also okay. So
yeah, I she's the senpai character. Everyone looks up to her because she's the older one. But they do a good job at making it seem believable.
Yeah.
She also cooks really well, and that's a fun little character development she has.
Yeah, I think Grant and I have discovered that we very much enjoy characters who are highly masculine and highly feminine at the same time. People like Sakura from Danganronpa, etc. So,
Laura, she's a princess, and
This reminds me of there was an article I read a long time ago that was it was like making fun of listicles that like
it was the
Mario Kart one.
Yeah, Princess
They're talking
Peach.
about all the characters. Yeah, Princess Peach. I think
her favorite color is pink.
Yeah, and her favorite emotion is being a princess or something like that. That's what reminds me of Laura a little bit. No, Laura's a total snob.
Yes.
And I'm here for that. It's so great.
She's also terrible at everything she does. There's been times where the entire city almost got destroyed because Laura was like, "I'm gonna sing," and I cannot not sing. So because they need her to get the motivation power back from the big old monsters. So if she's not there, they can't kill it. And so there's been multiple episodes where she's just busy off doing something else. Like, we gotta wait for Laura.
Yeah.
I like her being a snob. I know that they're trying to make her not a snob, but she won't grow out of that.
I hope not. It's just so entertaining. It gives them someone to punch up besides just the villains.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be on screen very often. So, because she is a princess, and everything, like, she has like that entitlement thing going on. But she can also take the heat, it's not like she's like
she's
like
also
falling
sassy
into
back.
tears and someone makes fun of her. Yeah, exactly. She's sassy.
So it's there's a lot of times where you have these prissy, self-confident types that they can give it but they can't take it. Nah, it's just a back and forth. She's a mermaid. That's important. I think. Yeah, she's a fucking mermaid. There's an underwater city, and she's like next in line to be a queen, and just loves the monarchy. But
there's even a part where Asuka is like, "You're just in it for the title, aren't you?" And she's like, "Yeah." What about it?
Yeah, it's fun. There's a really good episode where she's trying to get the aquapot that was taken from the student council because the student council became hella authoritarian. And she's like dressed up in a uniform, but she's standing on her tail, so it's hella awkward. But it's a fun moment. She also tends to just disappear because she can travel in the aquapot if she has it. So she'll just dip, and it's great, and it keeps happening. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah, Laura also has gotten the strongest continuity of character development in, like, at least that I've seen, the longest chain of episodes that I've seen so far. Where there's at least, I want to say, like, episodes 14 through 17 are pretty strongly leaning into Laura wanting to become a human. And it pays off. I actually really like it. So, that's another thing to chalk up then.
Yeah, I think that the way they use Laura is a good thing. That's very. I have really good comments about this show. I think my reading into the show is incredibly in depth, and I think everyone should follow my opinions. I
agree that Grant has very good things to say about the show. That everything he has to say is very in depth, and you should listen to him.
I think the best character, the one that we need to talk about, is Kurin.
Yes.
It's a seal. They're a seal. And they ride a skateboard sometimes. And that's all you need to know. That's it. They ride a skateboard at one point, and they have a cute voice line.
The one.
One of my favorite parts is they're looking for the aquapot because it's gone, and Laura finds Kurin with it, and it's just like, you had it the whole time, and then he just walks away, and I'm like, hell yeah. Seal doesn't give a shit, and I love it.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, Kurin is not like there is no power imbued in Kurudun. Kurudun is just there, to have a good time. There's no assistance, really. Occasionally, like, okay, so there's later episodes where Laura's trying to find the aqua pot, and she can find it because she's hearing Kurudun speaking from it, because Kurudun's still inside. So there's stuff like that, but Kurudun has no like initiative in the plot or anything like that. And that's for the best, Kurudun is best in being visual gags and occasionally like sliding through the background in like a very cryptid-esque fashion. Legitimately, there's the mermaid craze episode, and the student council, authoritarian jerk is like certain that she's caught Laura, who she doesn't really know, but it's like I saw a mermaid, no one believes her. And then amid all of this, Kurudun just slides through the background. On the skateboard.
It's the skateboard part. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's fucking
and
amazing.
She's just like, seal? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's nothing there.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's pretty damn good. So,
do you want to talk about the side characters?
You can, because I think, I can talk about the villains, because that's about all I remember. Yeah. So they don't have, like, a ton of names. There's Butler, who is a seahorse. He sucks ass.
I liked that the character named Butler. The first thing you want to describe him was that he's a seahorse, not that he is in fact a butler.
Well, his name is Butler. I thought that was self-explanatory, but he sucks. He's definitely the worst. The worst villain, because he doesn't have anything. He's a fucking seahorse.
He tries to get the villains to go do their evil work. So he's just kind of like he's kind of the cop of the group. And that's not great.
No, it's not. Sucks ass, especially because Changier is the best.
Mm-hmm.
He's a crab that likes to cook, and there is a part where he was about to kill everybody. He did it. He won. But Stu's on. He's got to make shit.
He's the actual embodiment of that, like, I just want to grill.
He does.
Meme,
He's like, ah, fuck. I left the stew on. Bye. And you know what? That episode also had unmotivated Manatsu, so it was a good episode. And
yeah.
I hope that this guy gets a redemption arc and he just stews all day. I hope him and Asuka just make food together, and that's an entire episode with like real recipes. I want it.
Mm-hmm.
There's Numeri, who's they say it's a sea slug, but she looks like a person. She has like a slug bottom, but other than that, she has kind of no personality too. She's a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Yeah, she doesn't like none of the villains actually fight them. They just make
directly.
They make the monsters and then they leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they create Yaraneda out of an object, and then the object does the fighting, usually, and then all right, peace.
Yeah.
There. In the later episodes, they actually occasionally do, go toe-to-toe. Manatsu fights with our favorite crab man. And not much happens, but they do actually, square up. So, but in general, they just sit back and watch. I guess maybe the MILF energy is the one thing that someone might get out of this character, but...
We cannot say that. I mean, we can, but I feel wronged. There's Elda. She's a shrimp. There's so many characters that's it. She has lightning
she's
powers.
Tiny and she's
She has lightning powers according to the opening. I haven't seen her use them once. She's an actual child, which means the Witch of Delays and engages in child slavery. So like bad.
But I mean, do they have to work? Or is it just like a?
Yeah, it's probably more like a fucking costume party for them because besides Chagier, who wants to cook, no one else does anything. So
and Elda she like plays with toys and stuff. At one point, she tries to get Butler to eat some food she's prepared, and by that I mean she went out and grabbed like a bunch of like seafloor shit. And the way kids do, you know. And he's like, no.
Man.
But yeah, they're basically they're limited to their little quirks. You know, that's about it. They don't take up much screen time, and they shouldn't, and that's okay.
But yeah. Yeah, that's the characters. That's all of them. Manatsu's mom is good.
Yes, yeah, I was gonna say we've got good mom and good dad in the show. Even though we only see the dad in the first episode, they're great parents. They're very fun.
Yeah, Manatsu's mom works at an aquarium, and she loves to go into the aquarium. I relate. Just in an informal education setting, it's hella fun. It's what I did it for 2 years at a museum, and I'm like, hell yeah, absolutely kick ass. And she's very sweet to Manatsu. There's a lot of it's once again fairly shallow, but it has some really good like, hey, I get that I'm leaving early. I tried to make you food and she messes up, and it's like, darn mom. Oh well. There's not a lot of drama behind it, and I kind of dig that.
Yeah.
There's never a part where she's like, Manatsu, you're grounded because you didn't study right. She seems to just be 100% supportive, and I dig that.
Yeah. Yeah. They're good parents. They're fun parents. Even if they don't get a lot of screen time, when they're on screen, we're like, yay, it's them. You know, basically. Yeah.
There's a picture of her mom with penguins, and I like that.
Yeah. It's very good. I like the times where they're at the aquarium with her, you know, and she's like either showing them stuff or telling them stuff. It just feels good, feels right.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Okay. So last little note on what we I guess could call characters. This show has perhaps one of the fastest drops of the side character friends that I've ever seen. Granted, do you remember that there is like a side posse of friends that they have that aren't Precures?
Fucking no.
That's because they're in like 3 episodes of what we've seen so far. They're in episode 2 and 3 because Sango's hanging out with them, and then Sango stops to hang out with them to instead hang out with Manatsu. But they were there. They went to like the strip mall together and everything. So they're there for like 1.5 episodes, sort of, where they're just kind of there with Sango and Manatsu as they're chilling and walking around and doing stuff. Then they reappear like 6 episodes later, briefly, and then they disappear again. So kudos for having the most disrespect for those girls.
I don't know. I can't. They're not even in the wiki. In this wiki,
yeah. I don't know if they have names. I really don't.
No, that's great. I love that. There should be there should never be side characters in a magical girl show. They always suck, except for Sailor Moon. But there's only one.
Yeah. Overall, I like the characters a lot. I think it's one of the reasons why I keep coming back to the show. They don't feel too derivative, but they're definitely still in like the genre fiction wheelhouse of magical girl stuff. Maybe that means I need to go watch more magical girl stuff in order to, solidify that, yeah, these are pretty stereotypical designs, but whatever, I enjoy them. One thing I do wish happened is I wish that more of the cast wasn't just fair skinned. They pretty much all have the same uniform, like, light skin tone, which is a bummer considering that it's about, like, tropical summer life. You'd think that, we'd have more characters of color and, or at least, a variety of, like, tan skin. It just doesn't feel quite right, but in, like, the sense of, like, they're outside, like, almost constantly in the show. So it just feels out of place. But aside from that, overall, characters are good.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm doing math, which never ends well.
On this podcast. Yeah, what are you mathing out right now?
So I looked up a list of the Yaraneda to see, because I want to see which one's my favorite.
To figure out which monster is your favorite. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm trying to see who has the most kills. So I can organize it.
Oh. Beautiful.
So who do you think has the most kills?
Well, at some point they start using team moves.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Changes things.
That doesn't count.
So aside from those,
there are 9 that are killed by one person.
Whoa. Okay. I'm gonna say Cure Summer, Manatsu.
Yep, she has 3. Everyone else has 2, which is wild to me because I thought Flamingo Slash got a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's a fun little tidbit. Who's your favorite Yaranade,
though? The ones I can remember. Let's see. I thought the gag with the sand art episode was funny, even if it made 0 sense at all. Like,
the tetrapod.
They go into like a jump roping thing where they're like spinning the ropes around. They have to jump them, and then they defeat it by just throwing a shit ton of sand on it. Manatsu just fucking bends over and starts digging sand out like an animal. And they just pile it on and bury Yaraneda, and then they wet it so then like it's more solid, and then they blast it to hell.
I don't know if you've explored the wiki, but
I've not.
Damn, dude, it is a lot. Like, yeah. It is. So they have a list of all of the Yaraneda, and they also have it separated from when they upgrade them from the Zenzen Yaraneda. And they have the abilities summoned by and defeated with, all listed for each of them.
Wow.
And so it's like super in depth for, I mean, there's a croissant monster is one of them.
Yes, that happened. That one was pretty interesting. It's literally, I forget his name, but the crab man floats over and he sees some people like eating outside a restaurant where they've got like the umbrella tables, and he just goes, "Yeah, I guess that'll do." He just throws the ball, and I'm thinking, oh, is it going to be like an umbrella table? Is that going to be it? And it's the fucking croissant.
It's so fucked, man.
It's kind of creative. It captures Cure Coral. It like unrolls itself sort of and like whoosh, like grabs her and then rolls up like a carpet. And so she's just stuck.
That's really fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very stupid looking, but I think that's kind of the fun. I like the penguin statue one.
Yes.
I like the Dogu, which is the one that gets shot with laser eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're silly. They kind of remind me of the Sailor Moon when they started possessing monsters. Except these ones are much less frightening.
Yeah. There's also really not a lesson to learn out of these either. Like, I remember early Sailor Moon episodes being about like, oh, it's possessed jewelry and there's the whatever. It's supposed to be about like, oh, you don't need jewelry to be the person you want to be. You don't need that to increase your self-worth. There's none of that here. They're literally just to get in the way, and to be defeated, and that's okay.
Yeah, I agree. But the wiki has like a lot of like discussions and comments on everything. And so like they'll talk about like the etymology between the names of all the characters. They'll just like comment on it. Kier Coral just had a birthday, and it's just everyone wishing her a happy birthday, which is fun.
Happy birthday, Kier Coral.
I found the live stage shows that they do of Precure, and they're terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not actors dressed up as the characters; they're like mascot costumes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, here, I'll send you a JPEG, and you're gonna be...
Am I gonna regret this?
Yeah, you are. And the best part is that the comments are like, man, these seem fun, but also terrifying.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, they have, like, the faceplate, you know? I feel like that's unnecessary.
Yeah,
and scary.
It's very scary. It's because it's very uncanny. But apparently they're fun and people like them. But I mean, that's the thing about this show. It seems that a lot of people like this is a long running series that makes a lot of money, and people like it, and I see why. And it's one of those things where we've been playing Ball and Wonderworld recently on Twitch every week. And that show also has a fairly large fandom. And it really goes to show that just making something that's just about like good vibes, it works. And I think Precure is the god of good vibes. And
yeah, it really is up there for me.
When you're watching shows like Megalobox Nomad or like even like Symphogear, it's nice to have just something that you can kind of turn on and just vibe with.
Yeah, you just know when that victory explosion hits, you're going to get like a visual and audio flash of dopamine.
Yes.
You know, just injected into your system.
I really like you mentioned this, but when they do the mixed tropical group attack, their outfits get little like wings so that they can flap them. That's it. They're not in any other part of the show. They don't have them after the. It's just for that part.
That one little bit. That one that one cut.
But yeah. So, do you have themes to talk about Precure?
Oh, I do.
Jeez.
I think before I've already talked about when we looked at We Are Precure, like Futari wa Precure. I already talked about how there is like an element of Precure that it's almost becomes like imaginary like metaphor land, where it's like it's about the characters, you know, going through daily life issues, and then some inanimate object gets turned into a problem, and then they beat it up, and how like that makes it very easy for a kid to sort of put themselves in that position and imagine it. You know, like you're having a shitty day as a kid, like you forgot to bring your homework to school or whatever, and so now you're bummed about that. But then on your way home, you get to look at a trash can and think like, oh man, that trash can would attack me, and I'd beat it.
I'd beat the shit out of a trash can.
I would find out that my homework was in there all along. The trash can had stolen my homework, and I'll beat it up, and then that would be better. You know, like there's like a fantasy layer to Precure where, you know, if someone were to say, yeah, all of the Precure stuff doesn't actually exist, it's just dreamed or imagined, then that would work. So because I've talked about that before, I'm not going to involve that in themes this time. Instead, I'd like to propose that this show is about philanthropy. Okay?
Okay.
Hear me out. Okay, so motivation in this show is totally externalized in most cases. Like, aside from, you know, Manatsu's studying, you know, motivation is a palpable, real resource that people have. and they spend it on work, and they can have it taken from them. The working class is being racked by these simple, literal, objectified problems. And they're zapping their motivation. It's stealing the motivation out of them. And they have to deal with this thing that's in front of them. So, what happens? The privileged precures step in, and they beat the problem into submission, right? Oh, it was so easy. All we have to do is X, Y, and Z plan, and congratulations, the thing is no more. All right? All we had to do was put a little zazz into it, and now we redistribute the motivation back into the working class. Now, who gave the precures that power? A charitable monarchy.
God damn it.
Whose criteria were charisma and youth. What you need to be a precurs, you need to be a young person with a lot of spirit, and you're well-spoken, you believe in good things, right? And now who steals the motivation in the first place? That's the lazy, unemployed bottom feeders who have no appreciation for originality or productivity. So Precure is about the 1%.
Solving the world's problems.
In air quotes, solving the world's problems.
Yeah, hell yeah, you're absolutely right. We should all follow that. That is it. How long did it take you to come up with that?
I feel bad for saying all that.
How long did it take you to come up with that?
Like 5 minutes.
Of course it did. Of course. The fact that you're able to pull shit like that is incredible. I
feel bad I feel like I've poisoned the well.
I know that is not your area that you teach. But damn, I would love to have you as like an English professor and just pulling bullshit out of the fucking thin air whenever you read anything.
I just have my life is a constant battle to essentially find everyday experiences and pull out an infinite clown rag of leftist things to problematize out of
it. Yeah, that's it. That's the themes of Precure.
Totally. No, but to be less cynical, it's about taking your life into your own hands. It's a lot of times about the whole spirit of like dress for the job you not for the job you have.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, well, you can use makeup to appear unique or to feel fancy or pretty. You can you can enjoy talents at your own leisure, and people will appreciate them out of you if you're being yourself. And all of this, it's individualism experienced through the social context. Right, like you can be yourself easier if you learn to understand yourself by being in a group of friends and you position yourself in that, and it's like being yourself is easier together. That's almost like the undercurrent. So
yeah, that's probably closer to the vision the writers had for the show.
Okay.
Do you have any hypotheticals or final thoughts?
I do have hypotheticals.
Me too.
I know you were thinking one up. Do you want to do yours first or last?
I'll do mine first because I just thought of mine, so it's not really. I didn't really think of it.
That's okay.
So it's beginning of whatever the fuck this show started, and the writers send in the rough draft of the name. They're like, hey, not the writers, the producers. Like, hey, write this. This is the name. But they misspelled Rouge and it is Rogue.
Yeah.
What is Tropical-Rouge Precure?
It's about a flipped situation where the precures are the ones who are like vilified and they're underground, and so it's almost like a Robin Hood situation then, where like although there's like all this propaganda and like slander against the precures and who they are, in reality they're the ones who are making things right. I'm realizing that this is just the plot of Yatterman Night. But that show was bad, so I don't care about stealing it.
I also, real quick, before we go into your hypotheticals, and I'm just trying to prevent you from ever talking again, I looked up the merchandise sale for Precure.
Uh-huh.
It has all of them from 2005 to 2020.
Okay.
In 2005, Precure merchandise sold for a total of 511 million United States dollars.
Wow.
The biggest sale they ever had was in 2010, where they sold 76.65 billion yen, which is the equivalent of about 700 million US dollars, and just toy and merchandise sales in Japan. Just Japan.
That's strong.
It's so strong. It's so much money. The lowest they sold was in so interesting enough. They sold 6.9 billion yen, which is about 7 million United States dollars. But that is only Bandai Namco toys. They have other people.
So that's not Blu-rays. That's not.
Nope, that's just and that's only one toy company. They have other toy companies that make their stuff.
Oh.
They make a lot of money.
Oh. Shows like this are the reason why Amazon's frequently purchased together section exists.
Yeah, well,
the other day I was like, what are they have like figurines? I'm assuming they have figurines, and so I go look it up. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty cheap figure of Papaya. That's pretty nice. That's cute. And then I'm like, but if I just buy the one, then she'd be all alone. I'm like, oh shit, this is where they get you. It's right here. I am not immune.
The Precure films
to advertisement.
The Precure films are the 7th highest grossing anime film franchise of all time.
Yes.
The video game sales were only about $45 million from April 2008 to March 2021. But I don't know. Okay, wait, hold on. Where is this? Building the lifestyle text in Japanese girl franchises. So from the article Becoming Precure, the author Anya Benson says, the transmedia text products, including anime series, film, live performance, themed stores, and toys, has been analyzed as a system of consumption, knowledge, and action that creates a lifestyle text, a set of fictional media works that are synonymous with the lifestyle practices they promote. That's Precure, baby.
That's my shit right there. I love hearing that.
Okay.
Oh my god. And not that I'm like, oh yeah, I want that life. As in, like, this, the author of the article is totally, yeah. I'm picking up what they're putting down. God, there's just and like this. A lot of times, I think, as like a Western consumer of anime, when I think merchandise, I usually go to like, statues and figures and stuff like that. But there's so much. It's just like, oh, it's someone's birthday, so here's like a set of napkins and it's got Cure Coral on it, and you can buy a different set that has Cure Summer, like it's all those little things too that can stack up. I remember I sent you a picture of like a
pop-up store.
It was
right?
A merchandise stand, like it was a merchandise display for a bunch of stuff that's all about Sango, just Sango. And on that there were like 20 unique things on there. There were buttons, and there's charms, and there's decorative cards, there's plushies, and then of course there's like dolls and toys and all that whatnot. So yeah,
whack, just fucking whack, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry for cutting off your hypotheticals. I wanted to talk about toy sales.
We needed to have this discussion at some point. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Did you have any other thoughts on your hypothetical?
No, I think I was mostly a joke with the pun, but
okay. Well then let's move on. So, all right, Grant, we've got time to shill. Which of your personal affects or possessions would you put on the market as a commemorative commodity of you?
So wait.
So you're selling you, right?
Yeah.
But it's like what is it about Grant that someone would want to like sort of like mimic you or represent you with?
Knives.
I
have so many knives. Me and my dad
brand knives.
Me and my dad get each other knives for like a lot of things. I don't I like just because, and we just kind of trade them to each other. And I have like in my car there are 4 different types of knives. For no particular reason. One of them is like in case I need to cut my seatbelt. That's like the only one that has any valid reason being in there. And then like my pocket knife I keep in there just in case I need to cut open a plastic shell case with my newest Precure merchandise in it. I have one next to my bed. Because in my mind I'm like, oh, if someone breaks into my house, I'll grab my knife. I won't. I'll probably sleep through everything, but it's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, knives or dice.
Oh yeah.
Because I have a lot of fucking dice.
Your dice have even guest starred in our episodes. Because there was one time where you rolled for something.
Oh yeah.
It was during Elena.
Yes.
Because I was forcing you into a role play. So you busted out the dice.
Yeah, they're
and you made an attack roll on me and managed to slay me in one hit.
There's a D4 on my desk right now, and I don't know where the rest of that set is. But I have it because...
Okay, well, we're going to determine which of the main 4 precures are the best. Go ahead and roll that sucker.
Oh, do you have a set number?
We're going to go in order of how they became precures.
Well, it's papaya. It's papaya.
Oh,
I rolled a 3.
All right.
What
Congratulations, Minari, for becoming the
best precure.
Becoming the best precure by right of random entropy. As it should be.
What is your personal
I think a pack of tissues really represents me. Cuz I'm sniffly all the time. I drink water and I just start my nose starts running. And wintertime is basically just I'm constantly just ejecting snot out of my face. But also in memory of all the times in Precure, in Tropical-Rouge Precure, where something very, very happy or very cute happened, and the sand got in my eyes a little bit, because there's a beach, the sand gets in my eyes.
That's you're funny, Brantley.
I don't cry when I watch Precure. I don't. We're gonna move on now. Last hypothetical. Manatsu can't decide what the club's gonna do today, Grant. Help her out. What do you think the club should spend time doing?
Crime.
Tropical-Rouge Precure returns.
Yeah, man.
What would you like to elaborate some crimes?
So this place needs a little bit of edge. And they just need to it doesn't even need to be big crime. Fucking shoplift. Spray paint, just whatever the fuck. Just a little bit of crime. And that way, okay, so this is the problem, right? They're always like, what is your club gonna do? They're gonna solve the crimes. I don't know who did the graffiti, but we washed it off. And that's what's important.
You know what you're describing?
What?
Death Note.
God damn it. I never see Death Note.
It's okay, you don't have to. Oh my god.
By the way, the character, the side character is Kiriko Shirashi, the one that disappears.
Okay, yeah, the side characters are on here named.
So according to the character polls of my anime list, which surprisingly very little character polling has been done about this show, Laura is significantly the most favorited character.
Interesting.
With Manatsu coming in second, Minori coming in third, Sango coming in fourth, and Asuka coming in fifth. Now, these are but these are member favorites, not necessarily like my favorite, because like not everyone is going to dedicate a favorite to these characters. But I'm pretty sure that would cut out. That would be probably on par with an official poll.
Sounds right. Yeah. Laura being like so sassy and snobby is fun. You know, because she, as Grant and I have said many times, we enjoy our shit starters.
Do love
the people who bring the life of the party, basically. Usually by fucking things up or getting people mad. So.
All right. So with that is all I have for. Oh, what would you have them do? Sorry.
It's okay.
You're such a baby.
I think that the only real answer is that as a bunch of Gen Z tweens, the club activity would be McDonald's, charge their phone, twerk, be bisexual, eat hot chip, and lie. And that is that.
All right.
Alrighty. So, what's next for us?
All right, so our next one we're going to be doing is Symphogear XV, the final in the Symphogear saga, and maybe the best one. If we can get Brantley to give this one an 8 out of 10, I'm going to, I don't know.
What are you going to do?
Cry.
It's okay. You can have some Brantley branded tissues.
Well, thank you for listening to our episode on Tropical-Rouge Preacher.
The rogue was slipping out again.
It was. If you liked what you listened to, be sure to like, comment, or subscribe. We have a Twitter account that we're going to be linking in the description. We stream on Twitch every Monday as of now. We are playing through Ball and Wonderworld, which is a game.
It's something.
It's something. So feel free to join us, or don't. We are not your dads.